Today I will show you how to create this really cute, interesting rocket in Photoshop completely from scratch. So let's start. Hi guys, it's Nemanja and welcome to another really fun episode. Today we will have a lot of fun creating this really nice, interesting, cute rocket in Photoshop completely from scratch, and then we will make it to look like it's a 3D object. So you will learn a lot of interesting tips, tricks and techniques that you can later implement in your own work. But before we jump straight into Photoshop, let me tell you that this episode is sponsored by Skillshare. In case you don't know, Skillshare is a big online learning community with more than 25,000 classes in whatever practically you want. Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro, After Effects, marketing, business, photography overall, videography, whatever you type there, I'm sure they have it. Even cooking, running, I don't know, whatever you want. They're pretty affordable. The annual plan is less than $10 per month. And just for you guys, for my subscribers, for first 500 of you guys who follow the link down there in the description, you will get 2 months completely free trial of premium account on Skillshare. So that means that you will get unlimited access to all the videos there on the platform. So for example, if you want to learn some new skills in After Effects, some new effects, some maybe how to create some cool intros, etc., you just need to go to Skillshare, type After Effects, and you will see they have almost 1,000 different videos in After Effects. So a lot of interesting and cool tutorials. So you can choose the length of the tutorial, less than 15 minutes or longer than 1 hour, and just enjoy the content there. Also, if you like to cook and to prepare some interesting food like I do, you can go and learn some interesting way of cooking, some new recipes. So you just need to type cooking. Okay, and you can see they have like 551 results on cooking, different techniques, different recipes, etc. So maybe you love pasta and then maybe you want to see how to make some really cool Italian pasta, or I don't know, whatever you want, they have it. So make sure to take advantage of this opportunity. Just first 500 of you guys who follow the link down there in the description will get 2 months completely free, and then it's up to you if you want to continue with the subscription or not. Right now, let's go straight into Photoshop and let the fun begin. Right guys, today we will start with a blank piece of document, and the size completely depends on the purpose of the artwork you want to create. So where do you want to put it? If you want to put it on Instagram, then you can do like I do, just take the aspect ratio of 4:5 and then create a rocket on this kind of crop. Or if you want to put it as a wallpaper on your computer, then maybe some widescreen, etc. So the size is completely and the aspect ratio is completely on you. All right, so first thing that I like to do is to create a sketch, create a new layer, name it sketch, use a black brush, small, really small brush and hard one, and just to draw something. So I need to draw the rocket, so maybe something like this, and then like the body right there. Okay, and some exhaust pipes, maybe like this. So this is like really fast sketch here. Maybe something like this. Okay, it doesn't matter. This is just a sketch. This is a window. And this is like the sketch for my rocket. I already did it. I took a little bit more time and I created, it's not perfect at all, as you can see. This is just a sketch for it, and I created a sketch. So to create a really nice sketch, you can go online and search for some reference, some rocket images, and then try to create your version of the rocket you want to turn into that 3D, like a real rocket shape. So now that we have a sketch here on the screen, the next step is to fill all these with the colors. So first, what I like to do, I like to use a pen tool and just trace the shape of the rocket and then fill with the color. In case you don't know how to use a pen tool, I advise you to go and watch my tutorial about a pen tool. I explained complete use of pen tool, and you can find it on the link right there. And now I will use pen tool, press P on the keyboard or just choose from here. And I will just go and click right there and follow my sketch. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I will follow this shape because I like it. Right, and the point here, the trick here, guys, is to create only half of the rocket and then we will mirror it. So I will show that later. But now I close the path, then I will press Ctrl or Command on a Mac with the Enter to turn the path into selection, and now I'll create a new layer, name it, let's name it body. Sorry, body. And I will choose a color, so maybe some kind of reddish color, and then press OK and fill this selection with a color. In case your color is a foreground color and you want to fill the selection, you need to press Alt or Option key on a Mac with the backspace, and then you will fill with that color. Okay, now that I finish with this part, I need to trace wings and I need to trace other things. So I will just fast forward this because it's completely the same. Just make a path around this sketch, fill it with any color that you want, and that's it. So before I fast forward this, let me show you one really cool trick. If you press Ctrl or Command R on a keyboard, you will get this ruler, and just drag from this one to the center of the rocket right there. I have two of them, I just want one. Okay, like that on the center. Make sure that is really on the center. Something like that. Then this will act as a mirroring plane. So we don't need to create a left wing, we only need to create a right one, and we don't need to be precise on this part of the rocket, only on this part, this right side, because we will mirror everything to have a perfectly mirror shape of the rocket. That's a really cool trick. So now I will fast forward and use the pen tool to trace all other elements. Right, I just created this part of the exhaust pipe, and I will move it below the body, and I will just make a copy of it. Press Ctrl or Command J and just move it down below right here. Then Ctrl or Command T to make it smaller, like this. Alright, and maybe a little bit like that. I'm satisfied with that. And also I will go to this one and press Ctrl or Command T and just pull it down to have a little bit bigger shape, something like that. Also, I can go on this one. As you can see, guys, I'm switching between layers just by clicking on them. I'm using a move tool. I'm holding Ctrl or Command key, and in that way I can switch really fast and easily between layers. Also, there is another trick. If you just click here, auto select, you don't need to hold anything. On any layer you click, it will automatically be selected. But I don't like to have this auto select because I want to maybe select the wing right there and then move it from here for some reasons. I don't want to click here and then to select nothing or some other layer. So that's why I like to have my Control or Command key pressed, and then auto select option will be available. Okay, so this is a cool trick. I will now select this layer and change it to a little brighter part of the color of gray, shade of gray. So I will Control or Command click on this, actually on this, to load this layer as a selection and then fill it with a gray. And also I like to move it down below. So this is it. This is practically it. Only thing that we need to do is to create this middle wing. So I will lower the opacity of the body, use again pen tool, and just fast forward this a little bit. And guys, this is it. So let's bring back the opacity of the body, and this is our rocket. So I will hide the sketch layer, and now we need to mirror this. So easy way to do this is just to delete the half part of the rocket and then to duplicate that part that is left and just flip it horizontal. So we will do that. I will go and choose rectangular marquee tool and just create selection. It will clip. It will snap actually. It will snap here to this middle line. That's cool. And now we need to go in layer by layer. So here I don't need to delete anything, but middle wing, just press delete, then body, press delete, and those exhaust pipes, press delete, and that's it. Now what I need to do, I need to select everything here, all those elements, press Ctrl or Command J to make a copy of it. Then while everything is selected, press Ctrl or Command T, and then we can go just and say flip horizontal and move it by holding shift, move it to snap here. That's really cool. Then press OK. And we can now hide this helper by pressing Control H to hide. So Control or Command H, and that's it. So as you can see, there is a small line in between. That's because those two parts are not connected, like one layer. So we will do that. We will go to middle wing, copy and middle wing, and press Control or Command E to merge it together. So now we have middle wing as one layer. So we will do exactly the same for all other elements. So body, Control Command D, and I will fast forward this. Okay, so this is it. Let me just check. This is 1, this is 2. We have a body, we have middle wing, we have left wing, and we have right wing, but right wing. Okay, this is all the elements, almost finished silhouette of the rocket. The only thing that is missing is the window and this part right here, this thing that is dividing the top of the rocket from the body. So let's create the window first. It's really easy to do that. There are several ways in Photoshop how you can do it. I will show you one way with shape tool. In case you don't know how to use a shape tool, I have a really good tutorial, shape tool explained. You can watch it on the link right there. So check it out if you don't know how to use it. Now I will go to my shape tool and I will choose ellipse tool. Okay. And I will just create ellipse by holding shift. So something like this. And then I don't want fill. In case you have some color as a fill, just choose no color. And then I can choose some brighter color for the stroke. And I want to make it bigger, probably something like this, maybe 60 or so. Let me see. Yeah. For now, let's do it like that. And maybe I want to make everything smaller, so I can go right there and type maybe 550. I don't know. Let's see. This is cool. So this is my window for now. I really like it, and I want to center it with the rocket. So to do that, I will just choose window. Let me just name it. Choose window and choose the body by holding Control or Command key and just click on it, and then go on a move tool and center it, align it vertically. So this is it. Now they're perfectly aligned. I can now go and create this dividing part. So to do that, I will go to my body layer because I want to cut out the cap of the rocket physically from this layer. So to do that, again, there are several ways. You can use a pen tool and just make like a selection around and then cut it out. But easy way is to use the elliptical marquee tool and just do something like this. I will go right there, make sure that's on the middle. All right, and then I like to add this part as a selection because I don't want to select only the middle part of the rocket. I want to select everything except the cap. So I will use the lasso tool, press and hold shift to add to the selection. And this is it. Now I need to invert the selection because I want the cap to be selected. Control Shift I or Command Shift I on a Mac. And now I will press Control Shift plus J or Command Shift J. Or you can go to Layer, New Layer, via Cut. We want to make a new layer via Cut. So this is it. Okay, and as you can see, we have cap on a separate layer. Also, I want to go on the sketch layer, hide it and move it all the way down. Let's just move this right there. Okay, and now on the cap, I want to make that line, that ribbon or whatever it is. So to do that, we just need to create a new layer and clip it to affect only cap layer. And now I want to hide the body just to have better impression what I'm doing. I can go again to elliptical marquee tool and just go right there, move it up, like this, and then fill it with any color that you want. I will choose some kind of darker gray color and fill it with that. I filled actually the whole ellipse, but because, as you can see, because I clip it to affect only the cap, it's only showing here. So that's it. Let's bring back this part and our silhouette of a rocket is done. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is to transform this 2D object silhouette of a rocket into a 3D model of the rocket. So that is really fun part. That's my favorite part here. And to do that, we will use only dodge and burn. We will just paint shadows and highlights to the rocket and model the shape of the rocket. In case you don't know how to use dodge and burn, and in case you don't know what a dodge and burn is, I recommend you to go and watch my tutorial about dodge and burn explained on the link right there. You don't need to watch the whole tutorial, just the beginning where I'm explaining you what it is and how to use it, because here I will not go all again through all the details what dodge and burn is. We will just do the dodge and burn technique. So let's go back in the Photoshop and let's do this fun part. Right guys, so first thing that I like to do is to make the shape of the body, because it's the biggest part, so as you can see. And to do that, there are several ways. We can go with the curves, adjustment layer, clip it to affect only the body, make everything darker like this, invert the mask, Control or Command I, and then use big brush with really soft big brush with maybe, I don't know, 10% opacity and black color, and just paint, actually white color because we want to reveal the mask, and just paint here, as you can see, and we can paint the shape of the rocket. So this is practically shaping the rocket, but I will not go this time this way. I will make your life easier, much easier. So to do that, I will just delete the curves adjustment layer and then create regular new layer. I will clip it to affect the body and I will name it shadow. So I will name it body shadow B shadow, body shadow, and then I will use gradient map. So make sure that you have black and white as your default colors. If you don't have it, like I don't have it now, just press D on the keyboard to set to default colors, and then choose the gradient black, actually the foreground color, to transparent. So in this case, black to transparent, and that's it. Now you need to just add a gradient right there, as you can see, really fast, easy, and really nice. So make sure to set the right distance. If you go a little bit further away from the rocket and then add a gradient, it will be a little bit feathered effect. If you go right here and then add a gradient, it will be a little bit different, etc. And make sure that you have a linear gradient, not radial, etc., diamond, blah blah blah, just a linear gradient, and add it like that. Also, you can move it. You can use the move tool and just move this and transform it, Control Command T, and just make it like this or like that, whatever you want. I like it this way, so maybe I will just move it a little bit and move it back, something like this. And this is the start. So now let's do the same for the cap, but first I want to change the color of the cap. So I will select it and press Control or Command key, click on the layer to load this as a selection, and then choose some lighter gray, probably something like this, and then fill the cap, because I don't want cap to be red. All right, so what we need to do now, I just want to select the cap and nudge it a little bit down. That's cool. Now we can just copy this layer, press and hold Alt or Option key, and drag it about the cap right there, clip it to affect everything down below. And as you can see, we can move it and we affected our cap too. So this is really cool. But this time I want to transform it and make it a little bit narrow and to have this kind of effect there. So this is cool. Also for this part down below, we can again, so I just want to rename it. This is C for cap shadow. I don't need a copy. And I can do the same for exhaust pipes. So I can select both of them, press Ctrl Command G to group it, and then rename it. Okay, and now press and hold Alt, make a copy, clip to affect only the group. To clip a layer to affect only one layer down below or a group, you need to press and hold Alt or Option key and click in between those two layers, or in between the layer and the group. And now, as you can see, I can move it, and again I will transform it, make it more narrow and like that, and that's cool. And this is it. This is it with the shadows. Now what I like to do to emphasize this even more, I want to go to Rocket Body, create a new layer, and name it Shadow S number 2. So I want to write whole name, so S for shadows. And then I will use the black color really soft brush and maybe even 3% opacity, and just paint those edges a little bit more, just like that. Nothing special, just want to make those edges here of the body a little bit darker. So that's cool. Okay, now what we can do, we can make other part of the rocket brighter, but in this case I won't make other part brighter. I will assume that this is already bright because it's brighter on the left side. We will just add some highlights and some rim light on that. One thing that I didn't mention before you start doing the shaping, the lighting on the rocket, you need to decide from which side the light is following on the rocket. So let me quickly just show you that. Let's create a new layer. This is just for example, and I want my light to come from this direction. So light is coming from this direction. That means that this part of the rocket will be darker, and this wing too, and this part too, and this side of the wing, etc. And this part of the rocket will be brighter, and of course this wing and this part there, part of this wing, part of the window, this one will be darker, this will be brighter, etc. So this is how I like to shape my rocket. You can choose other direction. Maybe you want to choose that the light is coming in the front of the rocket. So that means that, let me just delete this. So that means that this part will be darker and this part will be darker. Okay, just the edges there. And this part in the center will be bright, also this and this will be bright, etc. So only these sides will be darker. So just decide from which direction the light is coming and then paint the light in that way. So as I already told you, my light is coming from our right side, so this is how we will do. And now I want to add some highlights on the rocket. So first I like to change the background. I don't like this bright white color, so I will go back to the background, press Shift Backspace and choose 50% gray and just fill it with that. I just want to have neutral gray color for this example. Okay, later we can change any color that we want. So now let's go to a body layer. And let me show you one really cool trick. We can create a new layer and name it Highlight H1, Highlight 1, then use a white color, softer brush like that, and we can just paint with 100% opacity. We can just paint like a rim light right there. But I will not do like that. I will show you one really cool and easy way how to precisely paint that rim light. I already did that in several tutorials, but I will go again through this. But before that, I want to make selection of the rocket body. So let me see, I don't want wings, I want just cap, body and exhaust pipes, and that's it. I will group that, press Ctrl Command G and name this rocket body. And also I will right click and choose the color red because the rocket is red. It's just easier for me later because we will have a lot of layers to find the rocket layer. Also guys, one note, this tutorial is a little bit longer, but it's really easy to create this kind of rocket. It takes maybe around 10 minutes to create it from scratch when you know what you're doing, but of course the tutorial is much longer because it's me showing you slowly, detailedly, all steps what you need to do. But when you got in the shape of doing this rocket, 10 minutes probably it's enough. So let's go back to the tutorial. Okay, now what we need to do is to make the selection of the body of the rocket. So press and hold Control or Command key, click on this, then click on a cap. I made the selection of cap. Then I want to add to this selection, so I need to press and hold Shift and Control or Command on the Mac. Then find the body, add that, and go right there and add those two elements too. So we have this as a selection. And now I want to narrow this selection. So I want to make it smaller to contract it. So for that, we need to go to Select, Modify, and Contract. 5 pixels is probably okay for this size of document. All those numbers vary on the document size. So let's press OK. As you can see, I have narrowed the selection. That's cool. But now I can feather it a little bit. So I can go Select, Modified, Feather, and 10 pixels. It's okay, twice of the contract value. It's pretty good. Okay. And now what I need to do, create a new layer about the rocket body. Okay, right there, clip it to affect only the rocket body. And now if I paint with the white color, you will see I'm painting inside of the rocket. I don't want that. I want to paint outside of the rocket, so I need to invert the selection. To do that, I need to press Ctrl or Command I. And now I can paint right there, as you can see, really nice, cool rim light. And when I'm done with this, I can deselect and then create a mask on this rim light, okay? And with the black brush, really slowly remove unwanted parts. So here I don't want from here to here, and also I don't want this part at all. So need to be precise, like that. And as you can see, this is now not so feathered as this part right there, but we will fix it. I can just select with the lasso tool, I can just select this, okay? And then go inside and just delete without affecting the other things. That's really cool trick. And also right there, I can use the lasso tool and just, and just select this and this, because I don't want to affect this part down below, and just erase it. And this is really, really cool trick to do this carefully. Also, if you cannot achieve the same featherness as we had there, there is another cool trick. Let me show you just really quickly. You can go with the blur tool, go with the strength up and just blur this, and then you will have similar featherness. But it doesn't matter to be like 100% precise, because we will see, we will lower the opacity of that, etc. So here I just want to remove this. Okay, and that's almost it. Now let's lower the opacity a little bit, and this is really, really cool. So this is just a rim light. We are getting there. We are making this rocket to look like it's a 3D object. Next thing that I want to do is to add some reflections on the rocket, because I will assume that this is really shiny, bright, metallic texture that rocket has, so we need to add some reflections there. So to do that, again, we will go with group. We'll clip everything to affect the whole rocket body. So new layer, name it reflection number 1. Okay, and use a pen tool. And now I want to just to create the shape of reflection, probably something like, let me see, something like this, and then something like this is cool. Make a selection out of it and then fill it with a white color. So this is really cool. Maybe I can delete this part, why not? And also I can make this bigger, Control Command T, and just move it up. Also I can go right click, warp, and move this however you want. It's completely up to you. You have all the freedom there. All right, and now what I like to do, I like to blur this a little bit. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and just a little bit, okay? Like maybe like that, and then lower the opacity to 40 or so. Something like this is cool. And also I want to play with this. Let's create a layer mask, and let me show you. I just want to, elliptical, actually rectangular marquee tool, and I just want to select this. I'm holding spacebar to move the selection, so something like this. And then I like to narrow these edges of the reflection. So with the mask painting with black brush, just narrow this, because this is how I like to be. And this is already really cool. Another thing that I like to do, just below everything, actually I can do in the middle of those two, I can create a new layer. This will be a shadow, okay, like a big shadow, and I will use for that elliptical marquee tool and just create a big ellipse like this and fill it with a black. So I know I ruined the photo, but don't worry, this will even add to the effect. So now I want to transform this. So Control or Command T, then right click, warp, and just just transform this. I want to go from this peak, this point, and let me see. This is cool. Probably something like this. Why not? This is completely optional, guys. This is just a big shadow on the dark side of the moon, on the dark side of the rocket. So far side of the rocket. So this is cool. Now we need to feather it. So again, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and zoom it a little bit. So probably something like this. Then lower the opacity a lot. So I just want to have this big shadow here. That's really cool. And now what I like to do, I like to add more reflections in the shadow. So if the object is in the shadow, that doesn't mean that you cannot see the reflections there. You can see the reflections there too. So I will add, but more subtle reflections. It will help with the shape. So let's create a new layer, and I will rename it reflections number 2. Clip it to affect only this layer, and I will use the pen tool. Again, everything is the same from here. This time I will go to here, something like this, and probably something like that. Guys, this is completely optional. You can choose whatever you want, whatever shape you want. I'm now filling with the white, and again, Control Command T, right click, warp it, and then you can just change the shape, the size of the reflection, so you can play with it however you want. Okay, and now I want to blur this. Again, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and this time I want to blur it more than this one. Okay, maybe like this. I don't know. Okay, like this, and then I want to lower the opacity a lot, probably around 20 or so, something like this. And also I will make a copy of this, Control Command J, and name it reflections number 3. Make it smaller with Control Command T, put it right there, and warp it even more, like that. And I will barely make it visible, just like that. So this is really cool. We already have this really nice cool shape of the rocket, but we are not done yet. So next step, what I like to do is to go back in the rocket body group and go here on the exhaust pipes and create a new layer above it right there. Clip it to affect only that. Oops, it's already clipped. So now I want to name it shadow number 2, because this is not a body shadow. I didn't rename it. This is E for exhaust pipes, and this is it. This is shadow number 2, and here I want to make this part darker with maybe 3% opacity and really soft brush. I want to add even more shadows here, okay, especially this part right there. Okay, actually this part I will just delete it with 10% opacity. So something like this is cool. And now we are stop here just for now, and let me see, I just want to fix this reflection up there. So this is reflection number 2. Yes, I will add a layer mask and just erase the part that is coming right down below, so I don't need it. That's cool. So this is already much better. The next step is to play with the wings. So let's go on this one, the right wing, and let's collapse the group, and I will do the same. I will create a new layer, clip it, name it wing shadow. Okay, and I can use again gradient, black to transparent, and just add a little bit of the shadow, something like this, but so subtle, you will see, and I'm not satisfied with that. Probably something like this, and I will lower the opacity a lot, so maybe even like this angle. Okay, and then lower opacity. This is cool. And I will add a new layer. This is highlights number 1, clip it to effect only that, and then I will add those rim lights on the wing too. So for that, I will again select the wing, control click on the wing, go to select, modify, contract, 5 pixels, select, modify, feather, 10 pixels, that's cool. Invert the mask, shift control I or shift command I on a Mac, and then with the white brush, 100% opacity, just paint here, okay? This is it. So just paint right there. I will deselect, control or command D, create the mask, and with the black brush, I just want to delete the parts that I don't want to be affected, like this here, and be careful, like this. Okay, this is cool. I will lower the opacity like that, and probably on the rim light right there, I can lower the opacity a little bit more. We'll play with this later a little bit more. And then I will go again, create a new layer for shadow number 2. This is wing shadow number 2. Make sure to name the layers, because later you will have a lot of problems finding the proper layer. I'm naming it like this because I will know that this is W for wing, S for shadow, number 2 for second shadow, etc. So however you want, just name the layers. I will use black brush, really soft one, and maybe again 3% opacity, and just paint right there a little bit. Okay, and this is cool. We will see later what we will do. Maybe we'll shape it a little bit better, but for now let's go and change the left wing. So left wing, again the same. This is wing shadow. So let's put L for left wing shadow, and again I will use gradient tool, and this time I will go like this. So this is cool, I really like it. I will create a new layer. This is wing L, left wing shadow number 2. Okay, and I will use really soft black brush, low opacity, and just add it here. And so this is really cool. We already have much better result of this rocket. So let's add shape to the middle wing. So let's select middle wing. Again, I will create a new layer. This is middle wing shadow layer. Okay, and then this side will be darker, and just build your shadow. Don't use like maybe 10 or 20, 50% opacity brush if you want to rush up and to build the shadow faster. It will be much better if you take your time with these things, and you will make better result, trust me. So just build the shadow. This is cool. We can blur this a little bit. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur to blur shadow a little bit. I like it. So let me show you before and after the subtle result. And also I can add a layer mask and delete the shadow from here. Okay, and then create a new layer, and this is highlights. So middle wing highlights number 1. Crazy names, I know, but I can handle it. So you can rename it however you want. And now we will do the same thing. Control click to lower the selection of the middle wing. Then go here to select, modify, you know the drill, contract. Then select, modify, feather. Okay, invert the selection, shift control I or shift command I on a Mac, and just paint with 100% opacity white color. So this is it. This is it. Deselect, control command D, create a mask, and just with the black brush, just delete like that. Right, and here I want to delete this. This is really cool. Now I can blur this actually. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur, just to make this a little bit. Well, actually I'm blurring the mask, sorry. So make sure to blur the layer, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and you can see it's a little bit better result. Also, I can lower the opacity, and there we have it. We have our 3D wing too. So next thing that we're missing here is the shadow from that wing. This wing will cast shadow right there on the body and on this part of the wing. So to do that, we need to go all the way up about the left wing, right there. Let's create a new layer and let's rename it middle wing shadow on the rocket, or MWSOTR if you want to rename it like that, but this is cool, right? And now I will use the pen tool, just click here and draw the shadow from this, something like this, maybe too much. So try to make like this shape. This is almost straight, so something like this, right? Then here we want to create this kind of shape, so probably it will go even more like this, even more straight from here to here, and then from here to somewhere here. I'm not sure where, but we will improvise. Oops, actually probably somewhere here, something like this. So nobody will know that this is not maybe 100% okay. And then probably from somewhere here, you can just make it less perfect, to somewhere here like that, and then we will just make a selection, fill it with a black color, and that's it. As you can see, really cool shadow, perfect shadow. No, we need to delete unwanted parts. So what I like to do, I like to make selection of the middle wing. So Control or Command click on the middle wing, then hold Shift and Control or Command left wing, and of course the rocket body. So here it is, that's why I made it red to know where it is, and this. And then I like to make a mask right there, okay, and also again Control or Command click on the here on the middle wing and just fill it with the black. Just fill it with the black, and this is our shadow. Now I will make this shadow a little bit more blur, so make sure you're on a layer, not on a mask. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and this is cool. This is pretty cool. And you're probably aware from some of my tutorials that shadows are not equally blurred on the whole shadow. So parts that are closer to the object that is casting the shadow, those parts are more harsh, and the parts that are further away from the objects are more blurry. So we will use blur tool and just make these parts a little bit blurry, and also the mask. We need to blur the mask actually. So you can spend a little bit more time tweaking this, but for now this is okay. And I will lower the opacity a lot, something like this probably. And also I will use black brush, really soft one, and maybe 10% opacity, but brush, not blur tool. Maybe 10% opacity, just to make this part a little bit brighter, because the light will fall there more than right there. So this is really cool. As you can see, guys, we already have really cool shape of the rocket. The next thing that we need to do is to play with the window. Now we will create a 3D version of this window, and that's really fun, fast and easy way to do it. It's really cool technique, so let me show you that. Let's select the window. Okay, it's right there, and double click on the layer. So we have layer style dialog box appears. And what we need to do here is to play with some shadows. So I want to add a drop shadow. You can choose the strength of the shadow. You can choose the distance of the shadow, probably something like that. And then the size, the blurriness of the shadow. So I will make it a little bit more blurry, not too much, but something like that. Lower the opacity. Probably this is cool. And the distance, I think this is cool too. So this is the shadow from the ring. Then we need to create impression that this is a 3D ring of the window. So we need to go with inner shadow. You can use bevel and emboss too, but I will go with inner shadow. And as you can see, we can play the light direction, but we need the same light direction right there. Okay, actually no, opposite right there. Light is coming from this direction, so here we'll hit first, so this will be brighter, and this part will be brighter. That's cool. And also you can play with the distance. Depends how high, how much depth this window has. So from this perspective, it will be probably like that. and then again the size, the blurriness, but I want this not to be so blurry, maybe just 1 pixel. All right, and then what I like to do, I like to make this part, left part of the window, a little bit darker, so I need to add some kind of gradient. So here I have gradient overlay. That's cool. Put it on overlay or soft light, whatever you want. Probably overlay here is good. And then choose the size, and also you can just move here to see how this will fit and play with the opacity. But I want the size all the way, and something like this. Let me zoom. This is really cool, really nice 3D object just from these effects. So if I delete effects, you will see circle, ring, nothing special, and with this, really, really cool. Now we need to create a glass for this window. It's really easy, so let's do it. Let's create a new layer, name it glass. Okay, choose elliptical marquee tool and just press and hold shift and just position it something like that. Then choose a color for it. I will choose some kind of bluish color, right? Something like that. Fill it with that and then put this below the window, okay? And that's it, almost. Now we need to make the impression that the glass is curved, that it's 3D too. So again, same thing. I want to double click on it and add a gradient overlay. So this is cool. I can move it left and right. I will use soft light because it's a little bit better for me. I can lower, let's zoom it. I can lower the scale and then try to move it something like that. This is one part. Other part is that I want to create a new layer. This is a glass highlight number 1, GH1, and clip to effect only glass, but we don't have a need for clipping right now, but I just want to clip to have visually representation that these two are together. So I will use a pen tool and just create reflection, okay? Something like that, and probably something like this, right? I will make a selection out of it, press D to load default colors and fill it with the white. If the white is foreground color like this, then you need to press and hold Control or Command key with the backspace. That's it. Now let's go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and blur this pretty much like that, or maybe more, we will see. Now we'll lower the opacity. That's cool. And also I will create another layer. This is glass highlights number 2, GH2. Use white brush, maybe 40% opacity, and just add this shiny dot right there, okay? Just like this. This is really cool, so maybe to lower the opacity of GH1 or maybe to blur it even more. Let's see. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Yeah, I want to blur it a little bit more. And I can make this even smaller. Press Control, Command T and just make it like that. And this is really, really cool. Also, guys, what I can do, I can create a new layer. So GS1, you know, glass shadow number 1, black color, okay? Maybe 3% opacity brush, really soft one, and then just paint right there, okay? Just there to add a little bit more three-dimensionality to the image. So this is really cool. I can lower the opacity a little bit. And guys, this is it. Our rocket is almost 100% finished. You can see how beautiful it is, and it was like just a plain 2D image, started from a sketch, then filled with the colors, and just with the dodging and burning, just with the shadows and highlights, we made this really cool 3D shape of a rocket. I really love it. I'm so excited of making this type of artwork. So now let's go and add some details. Let me show you how really easily and quickly you can add some holes to the windows and some bolts to the rockets, etc. So let's do that. Let's first create some holes on the window. This is really cool and easy trick. Let's go about the window, create a new layer, and just choose brush, really hard one like this, and 100% opacity. So this is it. Now what we need to do is to bring back our helper line. We pressed Control or Command H to hide it. Now we need to press it again to bring it back. So Control or Command H, and here it is. And why I need it? Because I need the center here. I want to make brush smaller and to center the brush and just click it right there. Maybe to move it a little bit to the right, like that. And this is it. Now I don't need this anymore. I can hide it again, Control H or Command H. And then I will press Control or Command J to duplicate this dot, right? And by holding Shift, I will just move it up. And then I will nudge it to be on the center on the window. Okay, and this is cool. Now we need to group these, actually to select both of those dots and then merge them together with Control or Command E. So we have again one layer. Then make a copy of those two dots, Control or Command J, then transform it, Control or Command T, and then by holding Shift, just rotate it and make it 90 degrees of the first two dots. Press Enter, and then same procedure. Select both of them, merge it, Control or Command E, Control or Command J to make a copy of that, Control or Command T to transform it, press and hold Shift, and just rotate it 45 degrees. Perfect. Perfect symmetry. I really love it. And then again, put those two together, merge it, and name this holes. Okay, and now we need to add some highlights on the holes to make impression that this is really holes. So double click on this layer and just add inner shadow. And that's it, inner shadow. Change the direction of the light. Okay, maybe lower the brightness, the opacity, and then the distance, something like this. And this is it. Really, really cool way to add some holes. You can add even more details in those holes. I will not cover this right now. This is just basic because this tutorial is already too long, I know. But let's add a few more details like bolts and we're basically done. So let's create a new layer. And now let me show you another cool trick. Let's sample this color by having a brush tool, press and hold Alt Option key, sample the color and place a dot right there. Probably you cannot see that this is a dot, but if I hide the cap, just show really quickly, you can see there is a dot because it's similar color like the cap. What I like to do, I like to collapse this. Let's just first group all these things. So holes, windows, and let me see, glass, they're one group. I will group this, Control Command G and name window. Okay, and then let's go back here, and now I need to make 3D version of this bolt. So double click on that, and there are several ways. Let's this time use bevel and emboss. So this is it, almost done. Let's add some shadow, drop shadow. So the distance is too big and the size is too big, something like that. Lower the distance, maybe like that, maybe just make it 1-2 pixels spread in the size, and this is it. This is one way how we can make this really nice bolt. Okay, and we can play with the opacity, we can play with here on the bevel and emboss, we can play with the opacity of the highlights. So maybe we want like that, but I don't want like that. Probably this is cool. And also with the size, we can change, maybe more pointy or more flat, depend what kind of shape you want, probably something like that. And this is it, we are done. We just need now to paint on this same layer with the brush, sample color. Actually, I will do symmetry. So sample color and click somewhere here. So sample color and click in the middle, and just again sample color, and probably here and here, here and here, actually here and here. Okay, now we can go and do the same here. So sample click, go in the middle, and just maybe go again in the middle, and in between those. This is really cool and fast way to do this. We can go same down below. So sample click, and you can see, guys, really fast, easy way to add these kind of details. That's it. So this is basically it. We are done with rocket. We're almost completely done. Of course, you can add even more details. You can build a scene, you can add a sky, you can add the stars, you can add some smoke and fire from the rocket, and a lot of things that there can be done. And I know that you want to see how to add the smoke, fire, and the sky and the stars, so I will do that right now. So let's continue with this fun episode. So let's go and add a sky. Let's go down below, but before we are doing that, let's just group everything right there, group and name rocket. Okay, and now let's go down below, add a new solid color layer, and red is cool, this is really cool, but I want to add some kind of blue, dark, desaturated blue sky, probably something like that. You can choose whatever color you want. And now we need to add some stars, so let's create a new layer, name it stars. Okay, and you need to use white brush and just add some stars, but there is a better way to do it. You need to go to brush properties, F5, and then go to brush tip shape all the way up with the spacing, then shape dynamics all the way up with size jitter, scattering all the way up with scattering, and that's it. So now, as you can see, we have some really nice stars, but don't just drag like that. Just add again stars here and there like this. It will have a little bit better effect. Okay. And this is like really nice sky with the stars, clear sky. We can lower the opacity too. So this looks really cool right now. And also we can add that smoke down below and the fire. So for that, I will use my favorite brushes, my smoke cloud dust brushes. In case you don't know how to create your own version of these brushes, you can watch my tutorial about that right there. And also, if you want to purchase my set of those brushes, you can go to my website. The link is down there in the description, and you can purchase them for just $1. So it's your choice. All right, now I will create a new layer, name it smoke. Okay, use a brush and just choose my set of cloud dust brushes. So I will choose first this one, 100% opacity, and woohoo, I will make some clouds. It's really awesome. So probably something like this. Then I will choose, actually I will change the color. On the same layer I will switch between black and white. So now let's use black. It's really cool. White, just to add some dimension. You will see later. Now I will switch to another brush right there. Probably something like this. Change the opacity, play with the opacity of the brushes, and switch between black and the white. So to add a depth to your smoke. This is really cool and important. Okay, then I will go to a third brush like this, and with that I will just add those really nice feather effect right there. Also I can change the opacity and play with that, change the color. So just play with it. Don't be scared to draw with paint with the black color, then with the white, etc. And also you can just go and change the brushes, so whatever fits the best to your idea. So this is really cool. So this, as you can see, really nice. And I will leave it like that. Now let's add some fire. Okay, I will use same brushes. Actually I will use this one, the second one, and I will choose some colors. So some kind of yellowish, and for another color I will choose red. So let's sample this one, and now let's just paint with, I don't know, 50% opacity. Just paint the shape of this fire. Okay, then change the brush to yellow, 20% opacity, and then just add that yellow. Then we can add some white, sample the white from the clouds, and then add like that, and just play back and forth with these colors. So we need the yellow again. Let's choose yellow, why not? Okay, like this. And of course you can spend a lot more time making this fire effect. It's really cool, as you can see. So just enjoy the process, and that's it. Also, we can go down here and paint it with white, like it's covered by the clouds. So maybe a little bit of black, maybe a little bit of the white, and this is it. And this is it, guys. Our rocket is done. Another thing that you can do is to add some kind of material to the metal of this rocket, so maybe some kind of scratches or some other metal texture. So I will just add some scratches and I will stop there, I promise. So let's go on a new document, copy this photo of scratch texture, add it right there, Control Command T, I want to rotate it, transform it like that, and flip horizontal, so like that. Okay, I will clip it to affect only the rocket, and this is it. We again have 2D silhouette of the rocket. We actually started from 2D and made this really awesome effect. So I want to put it in soft light. Okay, and as you can see, we have a lot of scratches here and there. I can go and create a layer mask, and with the black brush, maybe 20% with this cloud brush, because it's not like perfect round shape. I just want to remove some scratches from some parts, and this is really cool. I don't want scratches on the windows, so I can use like elliptical marquee tool, select the window and just delete. Actually paint it with black like this, and again I can just play with mask and add scratches here and there, remove it. But I will stop here, I promise. So this is it, guys. This is almost the final version. Just one thing you can add on the background, the gradient overlay. I want radial, right? Like this. And this is cool. So maybe lower the opacity and play with this. This is another way how you can just make everything more interesting, more focus on the rocket, etc. So this is our final image. Alright guys, so this is finally end of this long tutorial. I hope that you like it and that you learn a lot of interesting tips, tricks and techniques. You saw how we started with just a sketch, then fill that sketch with color, trace it with the pen tool, fill it with the color, and then just using dodge and burn, just shadows and highlights, we made completely 3D model of the rocket. I really loved and enjoyed this process. Of course, you can use exactly the same technique to other objects. It doesn't need to be a rocket, just play with it. The point is to learn this technique. And if you have any question about this episode, please feel free to ask me down there in the comment section below. I will be glad to answer it. Also guys, if you want to help me to make this channel even bigger and better, you can do that by visiting my Patreon page, and of course you will get some things in return. You have the links down there in the description, so check it out. You will get, for example, my PSD files, etc. So check out my Patreon page. Also, if you appreciate this content, if you like this episode, press that like button down below, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and press that ring to be notified about all the future episodes. Have fun, experiment, and see you guys in my next fun episode. Bye bye.